emergency podcast, motherfucker. We Can Be Heroes is back, baby, because we had to do this for what was it? What have we not talked about in a while? Star Wars, baby. Star Wars Celebration was today, and there's so many announcements. Little Bella in the background watching Matthew do all this shit. Bella, what's up, baby? It's your boy John Torado. Star Wars Celebration was today, and we were so freaking excited to get up on this podcast and talk about what we need to talk about with all these exciting announcements that we just freaking out. So excited. So much content has come. We have not talked about a lot of it. So much content to come. We're going to talk about that as well. Matthew, my co-host, how are we doing?
What's going on? Matthew Serrato here, Jonathan's younger brother, handsome looking brother. Look, I'm excited itself. Waking up in the morning at like 7 and seeing all of these news drops from, teaser trailers to official trailers, and obviously all things Star Wars coming in the near future. It's been a good morning. So we're looking to just, go straight into it, tackle everything Star Wars related today, and I'm looking forward to doing it with you, bro.
Definitely excited, man. Listen, we've been back. We've been talking about some Marvel. We talked about some DC. We had Derek, Mr. OTS himself here to talk about it. But it's Star Wars time, man. I think it's, I thought we were due to already talk about this. I honestly, bro, completely forgot Star Wars Celebration was today. And I forget a lot of the time because I know May the 4th is like a big thing too. Sometimes they'll announce maybe small tidbits of stuff or, so yeah. I always have that in my mind that that's the real celebration. I don't know why, because it's not, right? But I just forgot. I'm out here spray painting some boxes outside and decollapsing my gazebo that collapsed in the winter. And I'm looking at my phone like Ahsoka trailer. I start freaking out. Like, it's time. It's time, baby. It's time. Rebels is finally getting the love it deserves. You see all over Twitter. Everybody loving it, baby. We're here. Let's talk about it. Matthew's got a list of all the projects coming. We're going to talk about each one and see how excited we are on a scale of 1 to whatever. It's called 1 to 1,000 because Ahsoka's 1,000, right? Matthew, start off.
Well, I think it's only fair that we segue straight into Ahsoka. So, as John over here just said, the official trailer came out and gave us a little tease about what we should be expecting. We saw our first official look at Sabine in live action, Hera in live action, Thrawn in live action, Ezra in live action. Even the robot from Rebels, voiced by David Tennant, made an appearance at the end of the trailer as well. So, if you're a Rebels fan, this show is essentially for you. And one of my biggest concerns going into the series was seeing how well certain things were going to translate into live action. I said before that character designs and animation are very exaggerated, and oftentimes it's a bit jarring to see them look realistic. But for what we've seen thus far, all of the characters have made a very great transition, in my opinion. I mean, I hadn't seen anything that looked particularly I don't know, look bad at all, to be quite honest with you. I think Hera looks quite well, looks way better than what I expected. Sabine looks way better than what I expected in terms of the hair, in terms of her armor especially. I think Thrawn, even though we only saw the backside of his head, I can only imagine looks pretty much identical to his animation counterpart.
Matthew, I got a little bit of surprise for the people. I think there's ability over here, and I think Derek will work on the editing. I think we bring this up on screen and watch it together. What you feel about that?
I feel great about that, brother.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's share that screen, baby. Let's share that screen real quick, and then we'll get into the details, the nitty gritty, and all that good stuff after, right? All right.
Something's coming. Something dark. I sense it.
This is a new beginning. For some, war. For others, power.
It's been a while. Things have changed. I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return. As as heir to the Empire. We have to prepare for the worst. The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
How freaking beautiful is that trailer? We get Hera, right? We get Sabine. We get Thrawn, heir to the Empire, Matthew. We get heir to the freaking Empire, the Legends former canon series reference, right? They're gonna kill this. Like this is gonna be amazing. This is Rebels meets that storyline in the books, right? Is that not what it is?
I'm fucking excited. I said I had to like process it a bit for a second because like, so it was funny is I remember like when Rebels came out back in 2015, like I thought it was too childish, even though I was like 14 14 at the time,
Right.
And I was never engaged, and then it really wasn't until before Mando season 2 came out that I said, let me watch season 2 because Rebels is obviously going to play a huge part. It did play a huge part in that season. Is obviously going to play a huge part in some of the shows moving forward. And just seeing like a Lothal in live action, even though it was just like what's it called? Like well, even though we only seen like the outside, we have a chance to like really check the inside, I guess.
Right.
Well,
remember Sabine's promise to Ezra. She would take care of
Yeah.
Lothal. Always look out for Lothal.
Yeah, and then seeing Sabine at Ezra's original home.
They're meant to be
I don't know.
together, right?
I
think they're meant to be together. Once they meet back up, maybe
aren't they like? No, because aren't they like 6 or 7 years apart?
What does it matter? Star Wars. Look at Anakin and Padme. That was some creepy shit.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh jeez. Yeah. Oh god, I forgot about that. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think obviously we can like go around and speculate. What I'm very curious about is like how they're gonna handle the epilogue, because my lingering suspicion is that if you notice, I don't think it was, I don't know how I forgot, even though he showed the trailer like 2 seconds ago, but I don't think in the trailer they showed Sabine with short hair. There was a quick bit of footage they showed in Star Wars Celebration today where Sabine was with short hair. So I think that Ahsoka goes to Sabine before the epilogue. Perhaps Ahsoka goes to Sabine. She says, "Hey, I need your help with this." "No, I can't. I made a promise to Ezra that I had to look over Lothal, whatever." And then they recreate the epilogue scene halfway through the season, where Sabine is with shorter hair, and then from that point on. So I think like the first 4 are pre-epilogue. The last first 4 episodes are.
You're saying the first meetup you think is Ahsoka's first attempt to get Sabine to help her?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And Sabine's like, "Look, I would love to. I don't think Ezra's alive. I promise Ezra I'd take care of Lothal." Of which had those wolves, right? Wasn't that on Lothal where the wolves are?
Yep, the love wolves.
Yeah. So Kanan may make an appearance as well as the wolf or some semblance of a ghost. We don't know. It's possible, right? Especially with Hera and her child. So I mean, we don't know exactly how this is going to work, but yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because the one of the pictures we saw of Sabine is her with the shorter hair with her Mandalorian armor. So you would argue that maybe this pre-epilogue, at least for an episode, right? Who knows if it's half and half? But we're going to get to that point where she actually gets the epilogue. I do think we're getting. I don't. I think it was confirmed that we're getting that epilogue in live action.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
they
we're getting that
showed
exact
Sabine
scene
at the mural, so
at
I
the
think they're
mural,
gonna pick
right?
up. Yeah,
So I think it's going to be Ahsoka like after. So now they didn't know this. I think maybe they knew slightly because Filoni was running things at this point, at least with Rebels. I don't think they truly knew how Mando was going to work with this, but I think after Mando last saw Ahsoka or first saw Ahsoka is when she is the epilogue, right? So she goes after finding out from the woman where Thrawn could possibly be. She heads over to Sabine and tries to recruit her again, and this is when she's at the mural. So we'll see exactly how it works out and pans out. But I think the epilogue is 100% the focal point, right? Whether it's pre, post, or during, that'll be this focal point of all of it. But
yeah. I think even another thing too is I'm very curious to see if they bring back Barris from the Clone Wars.
yes, you think
I
they
have a
will?
feeling I think they probably will. For all we know, she could be that mask figure seen at the end of the trailer, the one that Ahsoka's fighting.
Well,
Unless
who-
that's seventh brother
well, there
to be an
was.
Inquisitor.
Well, there'll be
But
no. Well, that's the thing. Is it? You think any of this is during the rebellion?
Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to be sisters, right? Because I think the
Yeah.
sisters no longer. Or
It's
oh,
I think it's pre and post epilogue. So I think the first 4 episodes are going to be, which is why Inquisitors. 'Cause I think if anything, that was probably the seventh brother who was shown in
Well,
the trailer.
Inquisitors could still exist after the Empire fell, right? Like they could still be Sith wielders after the epilogue. They just wouldn't be part of the Empire anymore because there's no Empire. Or maybe they're part of this new order that's coming, right? Thrawn's order. Thrawn controls them essentially. Who knows? Heir to the Empire, right? I mean, I'm shocked they're following the Legends book, bro. Like it is wild to me that they're doing it. Like Heir to the Empire is arguably one of the best stories in Star Wars history as far as content, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like Thrawn is that much of an. We didn't get to really see who Thrawn really was in Rebels. Like we didn't. He's a fucking psycho. Like it's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
he's a brilliant character, and I really hope they bring back his theme.
Master strategist. What is that?
I hope they bring back his theme.
Oh yeah, I hope so too. I hope
For
so too.
Rebels is phenomenally composed, so good. And I hope they bring back Lars Mikkelsen, his voice actor. He's around the same age as Strong. I don't see why you wouldn't have him return. I think that'd be like a foolish decision not to.
Well, they would probably just have him act, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
literally, it'd be.
Well, they
foolish
haven't
decision
announced
not to
who's
do
playing
that.
him.
And
Oh,
apparently,
it's him then. That's gonna be the surprise.
I hope so. I really do. And then I'm not familiar with Ezra's actor, but I think he's gonna do a great job.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
it
think
seems
I
like he's a
think
good fit.
Yeah, I also think. Yeah, it's gonna.
Do you
it's
think?
really exciting?
Do you think Ezra is going to be an antagonist for some point throughout this season? I had
No.
this feeling. I just have this feeling Thrawn brainwashed him or something, bro. It's just going to be too
I don't
easy
know.
to say, "Oh, Thrawn has him. Let's go get him." They're going to think they're getting him, and he just pops up as the antagonist.
They probably just separated. To be honest, there's always a possibility of that.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. He's in the way beyond, right? He's
Yeah, yeah. Well, both. Yeah, that's the
Was
thing, too, it's
Ahsoka
like-
in the world between worlds at that one point in the scene? Did you see that? Where she was fighting the brother? Well, if it is the seventh brother.
So that's not the seventh brother I'm talking about. That's is
Oh.
at the end. Is at the end of the trailer. I think that's seventh brother.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
But I know
one-
exactly the scene you're talking about, like the older guy with the white.
Is that the
beard.
world between worlds?
I think
you see
that's
the
World Between
background?
Worlds too. I noticed that like,
Shut the
almost
fucking
right
front
away.
door, dude. I
And that's something too, because like I think it's a very interesting direction to take. The thing that confuses me is like I talked to you about it. The World Between Worlds isn't like an excuse for them to do like it's not like
multiverse.
it's not even
But-
that. It's like that's the thing is not meant to be used for. So
Well,
like
so that I'm scared that because we see what Disney's doing now, right?
yeah,
My
what it's not
worry
like that.
is they're
Yeah.
gonna say, "Oh, just pull Anakin out and have him just help Ray build the new Jedi." Like I'm really scared they're gonna try this, Matthew. Like,
Yeah,
I
like-
mean, they literally can, right? Like Ahsoka, by all intent and purposes, in Rebels died. She did die in that scene fighting Vader. Ezra pulled her out, so that's essentially a multiversal plot line, isn't it not? I mean, not literally, but in a way, it is. Like he saved a character that died. Like that is changing the timeline.
Yeah, because I
So
think like
I just don't want that to be the. I can't deal with two of my
yeah,
favorite things be multiverse. They're already struggling
yeah,
now with the one when it should be easy.
yeah, and
Like
that's the thing.
Marvel
Yeah,
should not be struggling right now.
and that's the thing too. Is like the world between worlds is like meant to interconnect everything. So it's not intended to like alter the like you know what I mean? Like it's not I don't know. I just don't think
So it's
that's
not
what
intended to be a timeline, multiversal.
no,
It's just
it's
a
not.
world where you're able to. It's in between worlds, right? So you're able to see everything that's ever happened throughout Jedi Star Wars history, essentially, right? My
Yeah.
worry is that ability to pull Ahsoka out. Do they try to use that to bring in the old characters? I mean, do they go as far back as the fucking old Republic, right? Or the Revan days? Like, do they bring Revan into the future? And I would it be cool? Yeah, I want to see these characters. I don't think there's a necessity to have it be the focal point of a plot line, right? I don't need a multiversal storyline. Like, I don't want some shit where like, oh, there's a new big bad that's controlling the world between worlds. We need all the protagonists from every era to come and help. The main protagonist from High Republic, the main protagonist from or Revan himself, because he ends up turning back into a Jedi. Like I don't need that, right? Just keep all the stories separate. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't try to use this world between worlds to save Star Wars. I think Star Wars is okay where it's at, right? It can get better. It doesn't need a multiversal storyline to fix it.
Yeah, and even like to offer Filoni's explanation is not really a thing where you go through one door and out another in a different time. You can gain knowledge of the future or futures that may happen, and you can see things that happened in the past. You can at times choose to alter them, but it's perilous to do so. And when you alter something you don't know, that's not the same. Wait, alter something you don't know is not the same way that always happens. So in other words, like it's a matter of just gaining knowledge, and it also doesn't create alternative timelines too.
Well, it doesn't create
Because
alternative timelines, but it does create or it does have the ability to save someone, though, right? That's the concern for me. Ahsoka died. Now I do remember, wasn't Ahsoka put back in that same exact moment though? Just outside of where she died originally?
that's the
I
thing I
swear
don't know.
I don't remember. I think Ahsoka did go back to that Sith temple.
Yeah, at the end
At
of
the end,
yeah,
she
so
walked out. So
the
technically, she
finale,
didn't
she
leave.
walked back.
She didn't go to
She walked
different.
back,
She didn't go to Ezra's time. Ezra's a little bit further ahead in time when he went back. Ahsoka didn't go there. She went back to where she was. So she went back to her normal time where she was at that point. So
Yeah.
that makes sense then. I'm all good
Yeah,
with that.
it's kind of confusing. I just don't think because that's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm like trying to like really hard not to argue. Um it's time travel
Well, you don't want
because
to keep
that's
too much
not
focus
what.
on it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
saying, yeah, totally.
that's not what like Filoni intended. That's why
I,
like he didn't want
well,
to like
my fear though is Disney. I believe Filoni doesn't want that. I believe Favreau doesn't even want that. I believe even Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want that. My fear is Mr. CEO might come in and say you have to, right? So I just keep it. You don't have to do it. They can and they can make it work, but I don't want them to. I agree with you 100%.
yeah, for sure.
So on the excitement point, Matt, I mean, let's just 1 to 5 it. How excited for your Ahsoka?
Oh, definitely 4. I know, like it seems like, yeah. 'Cause I think like this show has so much potential, and I would be devastated if this turns out to be disappointing. Like I would
Better not be.
literally like go into a deep, dark depression if the show. But at the same time, I'm not trying to like give this show monumental expectations because I don't expect it to be perfect. And I am very curious to see how they handle like well, I don't know. I think this might end up being true because a lot of Star Wars rumors tend to be that way, but like
Right.
apparently they're gonna have Ahsoka and Anakin fight each other, like Revenge of the Sith style. I don't know how that's gonna work out. Barris might be coming back as well. I don't know how that's gonna work out, and so I don't want the writing to rely on cameos to make itself seem better than what it actually is. Like I want
Well,
like all those moments to happen organically. And make
so
sure
I hear
they
you,
contribute
and I
something to
think
the
they
story.
will because that I think those cameos or any of those we're gonna get Anakin. Obviously, her scene either a past
Yeah.
something in the past or her scene into Ghost or whatever. We're definitely getting Anakin, but I almost wonder and expect that any cameos are going to help with Ahsoka specifically development, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Again, this is still Ahsoka. It is Rebels 2.0 or Rebels live action, sure, but this is Ahsoka. So I think any of those, they're gonna put in the right characters to make the most sense for her, right? And you expect that to be the case. Maybe Asajj Ventress pops up. Who knows?
Oh shoot, I forgot about her.
Yep.
It's been a minute since we've seen her.
Yep. So I mean, for me, I'm with you, man. I want to say I'm excited for 5. I'm gonna do 4, so I don't try to damage my excitement if it goes bad. But I
Yeah.
am really excited for it. You and a couple other buddies of mine got me like just kept saying Rebels, 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 watch Rebels, watch Rebels. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't want to watch it. It looks childish, blah, blah, blah. It is hands down. It arguably, and I just told this to my buddy Josiah, this is arguably Rebels, the anime series, is arguably the best content in all of Star Wars. No, this original trilogies, obviously, I'm not going to argue that that's obviously better, right? Original Star Wars is the best. I'm not an idiot, but this is up there. This is great content, great development, a great plot lines. Some misses here and there. We're not going to say it's perfect, right? But Rebels is that good. And I think it's better than Clone Wars. And I love you, Matthew. You and I watch. Clone Wars
yeah.
every new
I made
episode.
that.
Every new episode you and I watched together, Clone Wars, as when you were a kid and I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I will say Rebels supersedes that without a question.
Oh, I remember I texted you that. I was like,
I didn't believe it. That's how you tried to convince me, and I said,
yeah,
"Well, now I don't want to watch
I
it."
finished the finale. I texted you. I was like, bro, like I can say hands down, Rebels is a better show than Clone Wars. I think the reason why is that it doesn't not cater, but like it doesn't rely on arcs to
Right.
tell the overall story. It just tells the story, like, you know what I mean? Because I think that way is more consistent. And
That's
you
such
can
a
point out
simplistic
like
thing
bad
to say,
episodes.
but you're so right. Just tell the story.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Because it was I don't have a
All the
problem
other-
with the anthology approach of Clone Wars. I think it's actually very different. I think the problem
Right.
is you can really point out like which arcs are bad and which arcs are really good. And you
Right.
look at it in totality, there's a lot of bad in Clone Wars, especially in the early 2 seasons. And it didn't really pick up until season 3 where they brought in even when he went to like that where like Anakin encountered that Sith. You remember? And basically like told him the future.
Yes.
It really wasn't until that moment where like they actually had like a certified A tier, S tier arc, in my opinion.
Right.
They had like a lot of like B tier stuff, but
Yeah,
season
yeah.
3 is when it started picking up. Season 1 and 2 of Rebels is better than season 1 and 2 of Clone Wars. And that's why I think automatically made it significantly better, is that it was more
Yeah.
consistent from the get go.
They were. I think they were a little fearful. When Clone Wars came out, it was controversial because it was animated, and how can this be real Star Wars? And it's for kids, and there's this whole kind of debate back and forth about that. But for me, when it comes to Clone Wars, they didn't want to upset the people that love Star Wars and love all the live action and love Luke and love, you know what I mean? Like there's that crew you need to please. They also needed to fix the prequels, right? And I don't think that's why they made this. They wanted to make good content. They did. Clone Wars is good content. First 2 seasons are it gets better, right? And I think it got real good with that final season they made with the Bad Batch characters and all that as well. There's a fine line to walk when you bring in this new content, especially when it's in between these movies. But they're really making a push to fix the sequels, man. Like, I am not a fan of the sequels as far as being top tier, right? Just like you said, I think in my order, original, prequels, sequels, right? In that order for me. They're working hard to fix it. Like, we're gonna get into Rey's movie coming and all that. But with the Bad Batch and with some of the Mandoverse, and the Mandoverse is having some issues that we'll talk about too. But overall, they're really doing their best to make it all make sense. I think to your point, and what I'm kind of in a way kind of getting exhausted of, why can't you do that with your story in your movies? Like, I don't think a series should fix something you already created. I think a series should build to what you want to create.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
Why is the series fixing the sequels? Why is that series not already out to lead into the sequels, so we know it makes sense based on what we watched in the series. You're interconnecting backwards. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Now it ends up fixing it, and now I can watch it all in a row and say, "Oh shit, that's why." But when you just watch those movies without context,
Yeah,
shit.
and I remember I talked to you about that too. It's like Clone Wars doesn't make the prequels better. Like from a movie quality perspective, it doesn't.
No, okay, so
Narrative-
movie quality.
narratively speaking, when you
Yes.
contextualize
Right.
how this led to this, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense. But when you watch the movie as is, it doesn't fix the bad writing.
Like, why is
It doesn't
Anakin
fix
being
the
a
poor
crybaby
visual
bitch?
effects. It doesn't fix the weird character of Anakin in the prequels versus the Clone Wars. Because Anakin in the Clone Wars versus the prequels are two different characters. They are not the same person. It is one is infinitely better than the other.
due
And
to bad writing, but
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
see prequels, he's all whiny. Clone Wars is the opposite. Obviously, he had those sort of like anger-inducing moments or whatever. That's like that made sense. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
So
it's
I
like
think
cool,
with the
like
Clone
interesting
Wars,
dynamics.
obviously it's more war ready, more war battling. We didn't see any of that much, obviously, in Revenge of the Sith. I don't know why becoming a Sith Lord needed to be you being a whiny little bitch, right? Like, why couldn't becoming a Sith Lord have you be an angry motherfucker? Like, just pure anger and lashing out. Like, instead of basically crying to Padme, force choking her early in the movie, or I'm just thinking random stuff, right? Just pause. Pause?
Pause.
Not really. So I don't know. My thing is, I agree. I mean, you don't fix the movies itself, but you do fix the plot line. It has to make more sense, right? So you can argue the same as for the sequels. They aren't fixing the sequels as far as those movies in themselves, but they are making a lot of these plot lines make sense. I just want it all to be done. Like, I don't what's going to happen next. Like, we're going to get Rey's movie 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, and then we're going to have a series in between that to explain how she got there. I don't want that. Just give me it all in the movie. Give me it all context.
Yeah.
On to the next one, Chi. What we got?
All right. So this is a show. All right. I was gonna say, all right. This is the best thing Star Wars has ever made. And I think John knows exactly what I'm alluding to. Andor. So, the teaser trailer of Andor season 2 was released, and with that, news regarding it. So, according to Tony Gilroy, who's the creator of the show, he said that they're halfway done with shooting, so they're gonna shoot through August. Their schedule is pretty much right on time. They're gonna go into a year of post, and then they're probably gonna come out August 2024, early summer 2024. And so in the clips they showed like Castian, Dedra, Cyril, and Bix. And so yeah, so we never had a chance to really talk about our opinions on Andor. And so yeah, so what are your thoughts, brother? Are you excited to see the second and final season of Andor?
Second and final season of Andor. No spoilers, but everybody dies at the end of it. Well, eventually, right? But I'm on a 4, right? I'm definitely excited for it. One thing I think we did talk about Andor a little bit before when it first came out on a different episode. It is so different.
Yeah.
And I just mean that in the best ways, right? It is a espionage spy thriller. It's what makes me excited for Secret Invasion Marvel. Like, if they can do anything close to what they did with Andor, we're hitting, right? We're gonna be in the right spot. I am super excited for it. I never thought, and I know you do, this is probably what you like the most. I never thought I'd like the political side of Star Wars.
Yeah,
And I don't think a lot of people thought they would, right? Because there are a lot of politics to it. It's just an empire, but there are still senators that Bad Batch touches on this as well.
Yeah,
In this current season,
post Vietnamese War, basically.
right? I mean, it's like the remnants of the war and the clones wanting rights, and that's what's in Bad Batch, at least the current season. certain senators fighting for the rights of the clones as they're being decommissioned, and all these stormtroopers coming in instead, and all the drama and politics and everything involved with that. That makes me interested as well, even seeing that in an animated series. So Andor really touching on the ins and outs of that is super exciting, right? We get to see the whole other side of Star Wars that you would never think would be the center, and it is. It's so dope. So
That's the thing too, is like I never thought that Andor would be the show that makes me like it makes me like politics, because the way their approach is so interesting, and seeing all
Right.
these characters have like moral conflicts and intentions
Yep.
was so great to see on
At
screen.
the
Like
same time, Matt, seeing the opposite side, even with Bad Batch, the ones that are all about the Empire. You see these senators that are even in Bad Batch are like, well, we follow what the Empire says, or even in Andor as well, like, or even in the episode of Mando, where they're at Coruscant and going through all the proceedings, and it's the scientists that is trying to teach them about cloning, and all these people come in and they're just like, you could tell they're Empire focused people, right? I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of the word, but they're loyal to the Empire still. It's just so creepy to see that political pushback in all of the series. I think they're really doing a good job with that.
Yeah, most definitely. I think I just had no idea. Like Andor is the one show that I can't exactly put my words into like how much I love it. I just think this show excels at just about everything. Particularly the visuals. The cinematography in this show and some of the shots they pulled off were amazing. I think my favorite arc had to be the one where they're infiltrating the Imperial base. Like they shot all on location.
Yep.
And you can tell. Like nothing felt fake. Like everything
Right.
felt authentic, and just their
Right.
ability to sort of I don't know, bro. Like the show is phenomenal, and the performances, especially by Mon Mothma's actor, she easily gave the best performance in that entire show. Her scene where like she sort of has these regrets about the direction the rebellion is going, and how there's sort of this underlying fear that the Empire is going to discover what she's been up to. Like it's just so interesting to see again, like all these different character perspectives, and even the way they treat side characters too. Like characters in the show don't die for the sake of dying. Like they actually
Right.
have a purpose to what it happens. Like a prime example was the character who gave Andor his manifesto,
Mm-hmm.
his political manifesto.
Right.
And that's a fun fact. He actually Cassian has it in Rogue One. He's holding on to it in Rogue One.
Oh wow, that's dope.
Manifesto, yeah, like holding it into his pocket too. So like
Right.
the fact that like Tony Gilroy like looked at that and said, "Hey, that'd be nice to have a little story behind that," and then
Let's click into
sort of
that.
connect
Right.
it was super cool. And I think I don't know, just everything, and that's the thing too. Like, and then the Prison Break arc with Andy Serkis, he was phenomenal in that scene. Like never more than 12 or One Way Out. Even Lutheran's monologue where he says like, so what do I sacrifice? Everything. And it's showing that the extent that he's willing to go in order to secure a better tomorrow. This like everything about the show is so brilliantly done and well written that like it didn't feel like a Star Wars show. Like it felt like a show that this will happen to be set in Star Wars. Like
Right.
there were many moments in the show, especially in the prison break scene, where I literally forgot this show was about Star Wars,
I know.
which is a testament to the quality of the writing. Like the
Right.
fact that you can detach me from that universe.
It's almost sad that it ends, right? Because
I know.
with Rogue One and whatnot, you would have hoped that maybe we can get something similar for after Empire. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully those writers come back. Please write something else. Actually, you want to write like Old Republic? They're probably good at like an Old Republic show or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Anything. Like I don't care. I hope they come back. I hope Totally. And it's funny too because Tony Gilroy, he's the creator. And I think he went on. I think he also shot the reshoots on Rogue One. He was like he notoriously hated Star Wars, and it was funny too because like they asked him to come back for the show, and he was like, "Yeah, I really don't care." And they gave him the scripts. They gave him the scripts, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I'll come back." So like it literally took like him to read the script for him to say, "Yeah, I'll come back." And it just like his take on the show and how even though he isn't like the biggest Star Wars fan, the fact that he was willing to come back to supervise the show and obviously make sure that this character story is done as good as can be. Yeah, so anyways, sorry guys, freaking went on the whole Andor.
No, Andor's that great, man.
Love
So
fest,
obviously Matthew's on a
watch it.
5. As clear as day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like so season 2 is gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
For that. Excited for that.
Yeah.
All right. On to the next one, brother.
Yeah, so the next one. So I'll have you go ahead and take the lead on this one. So the Acolyte. If I'm not mistaken, a bit of footage was shown. That rumor of Carrie-Anne Moss was true. Apparently, she was seen using martial arts instead of a lightsaber. I think the fact that she's really like her Jedi apparently doesn't use a lightsaber and uses the Force is so fucking cool. That's like literally the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Absolutely
and
amazing.
Even beyond that, it's even been revealed that the show is from the perspective of the bad guys or the Sith rather, and so I think that's a very interesting perspective to take, especially since we've been so adept to seeing things from the Jedi point of view. I think it's about time we see things from the other side, right? So,
And
anyways,
look,
all that
we're gonna
being
get
said,
100. This is 100 years before the prequel trilogy starts, right? So we are going to see possibly some characters that we've seen in the main Star Wars 9 movies, right? I mean, Yoda could appear. he's going to be a little more sprung than he is in the prequel trilogies as a whole, right? Or even obviously in the original trilogies. I think having a Jedi that's strictly Force is fucking amazing. I mean,
cool.
they gave us I don't know if they intended this, but they foreshadowed that at least a little bit in Kenobi, right? Vader fucked Reva up with just Force.
Yeah, or even a Rogue One. Donnie Yen's character.
Absolutely, same thing. So, which we're not too confirmed he's a Jedi Force user. I mean, technically he is at that point, right?
Yeah, I feel like he believes in it. I don't think he himself is a Jedi.
Maybe some semblance of midichlorians in him. Who knows? Which midichlorians a whole nother debate. But anyway, so getting that non saber wielder, we are getting a Wookiee Jedi as well. Not confirmed what the name is, but I'm assuming somebody that's not around in the any of the movies. And yeah, it's going to be completely Sith focused, which is dope. I think we are going to get Darth Plagueis the Wise. He will probably be the Sith Master, right? The main Sith Lord, and then maybe the right. I mean, I don't know how long was he around. I think we're getting a young Palpatine. There's at some point they said, I don't know, maybe it's like a post credit because he wouldn't really be alive then either. So it's sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna get that. And honestly, bro, I love the idea of a Sith centric series.
Yeah, I mean, that.
Whether it's someone that is similar to Rey in a sense that they're very neutral and don't either are not a Jedi or not a Sith to start. I don't know. They didn't say the person's a true Sith to start, right? So it could be someone that's turning into the Sith or having that debate as to which side they want to be on. And maybe it's someone like Dooku who we're starting to get a little more explanation as to why he did what he did. He wasn't really for Palpatine at all, right? Dooku was a true separatist. Like he thought he was doing a separatist movement. He was not part of what was going to be the Empire. He was not privy to Palpatine's plan. He was a pawn, right? And we get a lot of Dooku through the Jedi Tales, or Tales of the Jedi. So what are we going to see? I don't know. Is it going to be more of a Dooku type Sith? Is it going to be more of a true Palpatine type Sith? Is it someone that's just having that internal debate consistently? Whatever it is, I honestly think this might surpass Andor for best series, Matthew. And I know you won't believe it, but if they do exactly what I think they can do and they don't try to extend beyond what they should, this could surpass it.
So I think it has potential to. I just think it's too early to.
Oh, too early to say now.
Too early for me to say.
Potential is what I'm saying for sure.
I'll I'll dick ride when the trailer comes out because I already know they're gonna come out with a bomb trailer. I know for a fact, and I think like you said, just because like they're taking Star Wars in a different direction, the same way that Andor is, right?
Right.
You know, I think it's about time. So I think you're absolutely correct. I think this show easily has some makings of being the best series. And unfortunately, we don't have anything else to really chew our teeth on right now because obviously they're trying to keep things under wraps. They're showing production as we speak, and it's going to be coming out in 2024. So not too long of a wait until next year. I'm predicting like January or February, maybe even January if they get things done on time. And then maybe they come out with Bad Batch season 3, and I think even that's a bit too soon. Probably Bad Batch comes out like September. I think they have a lot of like make sure that like the Star Wars market isn't oversaturated. Make sure that things are spread out.
Right.
Because we're gonna have a bit coming out. In the coming months, in the coming year or two. And yeah, I think it's actually it's gonna be amazing. It's set in a very interesting part of the timeline. Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I'm going to put it on a 5. I think having a fully Sith-centric series, any content at all, is going to be extremely exciting. See what their process is, why they think what they do. They're not just born evil, they're raised evil. They see other things out in the world that don't make sense to them. They don't appreciate the hypocrisy of the Jedi. And in some eyes, Matt, and I think we slightly talked about this, the Jedi can really be seen as bad guys, right? I mean, if you look at the Clone Wars final season, Ahsoka's not a Jedi, right? She left the Jedi Order. She was kind of the catalyst of this Jedi aren't good movement, right? Or Jedi aren't really, or I would say more naive than they think they are, right? There's an episode with the Junkers. There's just these couple sisters that are imprisoned with her, and obviously are with Ahsoka, and they don't know she has Jedi powers and all this stuff. But they really get her to understand the level of which Jedi don't really care about the people, right? Which is what their job is. They're about people in peace, right? Protecting all, and by all it means all. And they understood that the Coruscant hierarchy and the powers that be in Coruscant really controlled the Jedi and really forced them to do whatever they wanted them to do, right? And it's what led to the Empire becoming so strong as well. Remember, the Clone Wars era, the build to that, the Jedi doing what they did for it, created the Empire, right? It made the Republic stronger than it's ever been to get to the point to where the Empire got to, right? And the Jedi, through all just strictly being naive and not understanding and not listening and thinking that their way is the only way, led to their downfall, right? And we get a mention of that. I'm kind of going on a quick tangent, but we get a mention of that in the Clone Wars series of the two, I can't remember their names, but the two people that live in the lower parts of Coruscant, the sisters, they say, my parents died on a chase by two Jedi, right? And the Jedi comes up to them and says, "You'll be okay. The Force is with you." Where's the sympathy, right? It's not just the Force will be with you. They lost their parents. Why are you not giving more than that? Why are you only caring about the hierarchy of Coruscant or whatever the Jedi council says, right? Ahsoka saw that. She left because there was too much hypocrisy. There was too much naiveness, right? We might see that in Acolyte. This is why this character is leaning towards Sith or turns to Sith or goes towards Sith, because she is a she, I'm pretty sure, right? The Acolyte the main character. I think they said she. You read it, Matthew. They did say it was she. Maybe she saw what Ahsoka saw. But instead of going neutral like Ahsoka did, she goes straight Sith because they explained that they do things differently in a better way, right? Just my thoughts.
No, I agree. I think, honestly, I want the Jedi to be exposed where they are.
And I think it will. I think the Acolytes...
That's why I love the show, because I know for a fact that there are gonna be a select group of Star Wars fans that are gonna get pissed off that the Jedi are being dogged on. I can almost guarantee you. And honestly, I can't wait for that reaction because the entire show is literally going to be a criticism of the whole Jedi Order and the fact that even though the Sith themselves are imperfect, it goes to show that the Sith and Jedi are not too different from each other.
Right.
They're really not. The only difference is their methods.
Right.
Really. And honestly,
it's obviously being a cold-blooded
so-
murderer is
are
much different,
mostly
but we're
unethical.
talking just ideologies, right?
Yeah, this like in terms of ideologies, like they both want the same thing, right? Is to ensure peace. How do we ensure peace? Oh, and what does that remind you of today's world? The Republic, like Republicans and Democrats, for example, right? Like, and what I like is how, and it's something I talk to you about, is how Star Wars draws on real world politics to really inform these kinds of stories. But obviously, they do it with,
and they're doing that with true shows, right?
Exactly, and that's what makes it interesting too. Is not this whole one-sided affair of, oh, this side's right, this side's wrong. Is no, let's look at both perspectives and see, well, how do we reconcile our differences to, hopefully ensure a better tomorrow? Or are some people too stubborn, are too stuck in their ways to admit their wrongdoing? And I think that's what the show's going to address.
There's some semblance of content out there that says that Jedi, because of Palpatine and maybe even Plagueis, right? And we're 100% getting Plagueis-wise in this series at some point.
Yeah, we're definitely getting like multiple steps.
We're going to see why he did what he did, but how, right? I think this dismantling of the Jedi Order did not just happen with Order 66 alone, right? Yeah, that was part of the plan. But they found a way, whether it's a certain power or a direct action, to weaken the Jedi. Grandmaster Yoda should have seen this immediately. How does he not know Palpatine's going to do what he's doing?
Yeah.
Plot armor, obviously. But in a sense, let's talk about not being plot armor. How does he not see this? There was and this acolyte, we're going to see what they did to mask the Jedi from seeing how faulty they really are. Yoda is so wise, right? I mean, we see it so much throughout all the content. And suddenly he just doesn't know his Jedi are falling the wrong way. They're not falling to Sith, but they fall into politics, right?
Yeah.
They fall into the Jedi is supposed to be a separate peacekeeper. They said it in the Clone Wars, I believe. The second movie of the prequels. And they lost their way. I think starting with this Acolyte series, we're going to see it. And I think you're right. I think they're going to expose them for who they really are.
Yep, exactly right.
Republic has an issue too. I haven't read the books, but my concern is they have this idea that they're way higher than they should be, and that's a Sith mindset.
Exactly,
that's
right.
A Sith mindset.
And
it is a Sith mindset.
Hypocritical, to say the least.
It is. So excitement 5. I think we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna get their asses exposed and see why they fell the way they did, and why was Yoda not privy to it. Obviously, it was all just Jar Jar all along.
Oh God, helps us. Maybe God, I can't wait to see Yoda. Assuming he's in the show, and assuming actually he can't be in the show. He's like 800,000 years old.
Yes, he 1,000% could be in the show. Maybe I don't think they're going to lean on it too much.
Which I like. I don't think they would. I feel like
no, he'll appear for sure.
I feel like it'll be the most nonchalant appearance. It'll be like, I'm Master Yoda, and I speak in rhymes. And
honestly,
just like
we might see him. He'll be a Jedi Master. He'll be on the council, I believe. If not on the council, he'll be at least Jedi Master, not on the council.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think the Wookiee's going to be on the council though.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so dope. It's so dope. Hey, let's not forget we got mini Wookiee running around in Star Wars canon as well. I can't remember the name. He was in Bad Batch.
Genji, yeah.
Gunji.
I saw him in the trailer.
Yeah, Gunji is I mean, he's like a teenager, so same semblance of Yoda, right? I mean, they live longer than Yoda species, it seems like. So maybe Gunji pops up with Rey. Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of.
She's rebuilding. She's gonna find the Jedi, so we'll see what she does. All right, on to the next one. What we got, Matt?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the Skeleton Crew. Also set in the Manoverse. And for you guys who don't know, this has actually been created by John Watts, or at least pitched by John Watts, who will be a director on the show. And it stars Jude Law, and it's basically this coming of age story, set in the Star Wars universe, set during the time of the Mandalorian. So expect potential crossovers and them connecting to the inevitable movie that we'll discuss at a later point here. Yeah, I was gonna be upfront. I'm at a 1. I do not give a fuck. I think the Mandoverse is not good right now at all, and I that yeah. So that's it. That's the extent of what I got. Honestly,
obviously that I'll put it low too, maybe a 2.
yeah.
Excuse me. Putting it low means anything better will just make me happy, right? So I'm okay with that. The Mandoverse is struggling at the moment. You and I talked about this a little bit offline, but I'm still enjoying it. So I know you're not, and a lot of people aren't. And some of the spoilers for those who are watching, come back and pause it and come back if you want. The Jack Black and Lizzo appearances were a little excessive to me. I don't think they needed to do all this extra stuff. But at the same time, I rewatched it and I said, you know what? This is the whole concept of like the multiverse a little bit, right? There are like billions of planets out there, outer rim, mid rim, world beyond, which they're going to explore at the end of all this Mandoverse, I believe. There's got to be some weird fucking people out there, right? Aliens, people, there's got to be some weird shit going on. So this is just one of those weird planets. They're like, it's almost like that episode reminded me of Thor Ragnarok, the planet that they were on when they fell out of the
Sakaar.
The planet reminded me just like Sakaar, literally. Like that was like Thor Ragnarok in Star Wars. Which, but hey, it's just fine. That's fine. You can hate that all you want. I totally understand people that do. But that was Thor Ragnarok meets True Detective, right? Like Mando and Bo-Katan play detective to find out what's going on with the droids. It was cool to see the battle droids from the Clone Wars. It was cool to see that the Droid Rebellion is actually a plot line. I don't know if it's a comic or a book, but the droids wanted rights, right? And they have feelings, and you see it with 3PO and all. Even R2 freaks out and reacts all the time, right? So it's just, it was a little cool to see that plot line, see why they were turning the way they did. Separatist was the reason why, right? Separatist was controlling the bots to control the planet, essentially. But it was just weird because the whole purpose of the episode was to have Bo-Katan reunite the Mandalorians, but we got that for like 3 minutes at the end of the episode because they wanted to focus on all the other stuff.
Exactly.
And then we suddenly get Bo-Katan to get the Darksaber, of which she lost and couldn't even control her own Mandalorians in the past anyway. So overall arching plot,
that's the thing.
A little weird because he kind of showed us she couldn't do it before, but
it's backwards character development.
So we got plenty. So I heard you. When we talked online, you said that. I'll say this online. We got plenty of Bo-Katan development before. We don't really need much work.
No, it's backwards character development.
Oh, like backwards.
She's going backwards, like literally.
Right. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Like it make. Okay, so I'm gonna go on my little rant, like I always do. But basically, the reason why I didn't watch the episode, I didn't have to, because like I just think the show is bad. Like Mando season 3 is awful. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit around. I'm tired of hearing the same people say, "Oh, well, you don't like this guy. It's meant to be an adult series," or "Oh, Din doesn't have to be the main focus." Like the Mandalorian isn't talking about Din. It's actually talking about Grogu who doesn't want to become a Jedi. That's not how the fucking show works. Every single character in the show literally calls Din Mando or Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is about Din Djarin and the surrounding characters and how they inform his story, period, end of story. Stop with that explanation. And I don't mean to like get loud, and obviously I respect people's opinions. It is so annoying. The Mandalorian is about Din Djarin, period. I don't mind if they shift the focus on other side characters, but don't use that explanation to explain why they shifted to other side characters. It's annoying. You can use you can say that Din Djarin is the most boring Star Wars character of all time. That's fine. You can use that, but stop saying that the show is not about Din when that's objectively untrue, when the show literally opened up with him. Stop that. Okay, And so that, I just want to get that out of the gate. And then another thing too is that this over reliance on cameos is just getting way too out of hand. And it's just like
I don't think
it's
it's
like the writing relies on the cameos
I don't
to
agree
make
with
itself
that.
interesting.
I don't
It
agree with
does.
that.
It does.
No, I
Zeb
don't.
is an
So
example. Ahsoka is an example.
So the thing is, man, you
It
need to
is.
understand the reason why for Mandalorian. There's two reasons why the Mandalorian exists, and people need to understand. And I think I'm going to argue with you about that. It is not supposed to be just about Din. It is about the Mandalorians, right? And it is about Grogu becoming the new leader of the Mandalorians, the new Jedi Mandalorian combo. That's plot one. Plot two is they're leading us to the sequels, right? How does that happen? Who got them there? Moff Gideon, Thrawn, all of that is combining into this and kind of molding off of the Mandalorian originally. You can't just throw this content out without some cameos to explain where these characters
no,
are coming from.
I never said
No,
that. I just said
so-
that the writing relies on the cameos.
I don't
to
think the
make
writing
itself
relies
interesting.
on it though.
It
I
does.
think the first two seasons, the Mandalorian was developed extremely well. I think we got a lot of past scenes of him when he was a child. I think we got a lot of explanation as to how the Mandalorians operate on a traditional sense in the group that he's with now. The Night Owls, the Night Watch, or Night Owls and Night Watch are two different ones, I think. You know, a lot of characters explained from Rebels. There, remember, we saw a lot of these people in Rebels, right? So we need to see them again in live action. And I don't think the cameo's like, oh, Ahsoka's here, amazing. I think it's Ahsoka's here. Why? Oh, mentions Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is what's going on. This is plot two, the rebuilding of
Well,
the
you-
Empire, right? So like the cameo, yeah, was the cameo needed? Did we need Ahsoka to explain that Thrawn's around to rebuild the Empire? No. But Ahsoka also has a direct connection to that from Rebels, in as far as Ezra, Sabine, and everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So those cameos weren't put in to save the plot. Those cameos are the plot, right? Those characters have a direct connection to Thrawn, to Ezra, and to everything associated
So
with rebuilding the Empire.
So everything you said I agree with, but you literally just supported my point that the writing relies on the cameos.
Yeah, but the writing, so you're seeing it the wrong way though, right? The writing doesn't
Yeah.
rely on the cameos. The cameos are just part of the writing. Like
Yeah, but you
so-
said yourself
so
the writing relies
when
on
you
the
say
cameos to
when
further
you
tell
say
stories, yeah.
when you say writing relies on cameos, that
Yes.
means the writing is so shit that a cameo is going to save the day.
Yes.
That's not the case.
I think it's both. I think it's
I
everything that you
so
said, I
it
think
could
it's
be
both.
at some points like Zeb was probably pointless. We could have waited to see Zeb and Ahsoka only, right, when they all reunited. But Ahsoka is a literal integral part of what's going on in this entire Mandoverse leading up to the sequels. We have to have Ahsoka in there. That cameo wasn't in there to save the plot. It is the plot. Ahsoka is just part of the plot, part of the series.
Not on Mando season 2.
100%. All of it.
Of
Her opinion.
season 2 of Mando? No, Ahsoka technically didn't have to be there. Could have been any other Jedi giving that information.
You mean Book of
She was a
Boba
plot device.
2.5?
No.
Book of Boba 2.5.
Yeah, no,
Book of Boba is a whole.
Mando-
So
on
Book of
Mando
Boba is
season
a whole
2.
different thing. I'm talking about
Yeah,
Mando.
that's
So
what I'm
Book of
saying,
Boba-
bro. Like,
Book of Boba's writing was some of the worst shit I've ever seen. They were doing okay
yeah.
when it came to Boba's redevelopment into becoming the leader of Jabba's hut, right? Or the huts. I'm sorry. I think that was clearly just like, hey, fucking throw cameos and make this a Mando show, right? People are sick of not seeing Grogu for almost 4 years at this point. We have to put something out there, right? So just fucking make it Mando. Have him recruit him. Show Grogu. Show Luke. Make people happy, right? Make everybody happy. That's clear as day a cameo push. So I agree with you on that. That is relying on cameos. I think everything else that's been associated as far as characters popping up has an integral part towards leading towards explaining what the sequels did. I don't think
I'm more so referring to the cameos of last. That's what I'm saying. Like in total, like the cameos, the writing it's themselves relies.
I would
on
say
the cameos to be more
60 40 the cameos made sense.
So
plot.
again, that's not my critique. It's the fact that the writing relies on the cameos. It's not a matter of
But
if the cameos are good or not.
But that's not
That's the thing.
relying, man. That doesn't make sense because
Okay, I'll give you an example.
so let's hold on.
from a
Let me say
narrative
one thing. Let me say one
okay,
thing real
yeah,
quick. So you are saying rely. So let's say you never knew who any of these characters were, right? So let's say you didn't know who Ahsoka was, you didn't know who Luke was. well, I don't want to say Luke. I mean, Luke kind of makes sense because that's for Grogu. So let's say Luke in season 1, right? Don't talk about Book of Boba at all. uh, if you didn't know these characters at all and they were just part of this story, would you hate their place in the story? No, it made sense.
I mean,
for the
I would
plot.
be bothered.
Like you're just
so I'll be
you're just bothered.
So
You're
if
bothered
I
by the fact that these main characters are put in to try to appease people. I think these main characters are in the Mando series to make it make sense for the future.
okay, but that's the thing there. It's okay. So if I didn't know Ahsoka going into for whatever reason, going into Mando, I would have been bothered because they're setting up something that I have no idea what the hell they're setting up.
Okay, so that's fair.
in
Okay,
episode
so
five.
that
That's
explains the
different.
reverse
So
thing.
then
Oh,
on
tell-
the
tell-
other-
So real quick, that
Yeah.
explains my side of things. Then you would be pissed if they like just did that and you had no explanation. Ahsoka
what you're
being in
saying
that
and
is
what
a
I'm
whole
saying
part of
isn't
the
mutu-
explanation.
right, but you're so everything you said, I 100% agree with. It's just like what you're saying isn't mutually
What you
exclusive.
want, like you're spoiling yourself with Andor, right? You don't need every series does not need to be its own small
No,
plot.
don't go that route, bro. That's
No,
not
but
what
I'm
I
saying
want. But
no,
like,
but I'm telling you though, that's just what
Yeah.
it is. Like you're spoiling yourself in a way though. Like you want this to be this enclosed story that doesn't like if we don't do what they okay, hold on. So if they
Yes,
don't do the
no.
cameos they did and have it part of the plot line they did, you're talking about a very closed story that has no connection to the overarching issue, which is the shitty sequels overall, right? I
Yeah.
think we need what we have had as far as cameos. We need these characters part of these stories. It has to be part of the plot to explain what we need explained to get to the point of the sequels where it makes sense, right? And even to the point where Rey's story makes sense, the future story. That is not leaning on cameos. That is the cameos. That is just the characters being part of the story. Like you're Matt.
I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know how to
Here's the
explain it. Like, to be honest,
So
it's
so
just
so the multiverse of madness, the council or whatever you call them, the Illuminati. That was that is leaning on cameos to make something great.
I actually disagree.
That is, 100%.
I disagree with that.
People
And
people
the reason
love
why
that.
that's different, the reason why that's different is because again, like it didn't matter who cameoed as the Illuminati. It's the fact that the
So
Illuminati
that's my point,
existed.
though. That It
And
does
so,
matter
yeah.
who cameos in the Mandoverse because it's relevant to the overarching story.
Okay,
So
so
why? So
I
how is
feel
that
like you're
leaning
confusing
on
what you're saying.
cameos?
What you're saying isn't mutually exclusive to what I am saying.
Okay, so what?
That's the
so
thing.
what exactly are you saying?
The writing relies on the cameos. And because the stories are so interconnected, the writing has to introduce characters like Ahsoka, like a Zeb, to find
So
ways
what
to
would you? What is
interconnect
okay? So what?
rather than having these
I know what you're
consolidated-
saying. So what's the
Yeah, yeah.
solution to that?
Stop having so many cameos and stop bringing in.
So
okay,
how do
I'll
we
put it
how
this
do we
way.
get further? That's
Okay,
that's
so
what I'm
listen
saying.
to
You
what I'm
want
trying
a
to say.
more by
No,
saying
no,
you
no,
don't
no.
want this. You are asking for a
I
more
said
closed
stop.
story.
I said stop introducing as many cameos, and the reason why is because whenever a character appears on screen, is like they're. All right, let me pull up the post real quick because this post really said it better than I did. So shout out to Quinlan Boss. That's a QUINLANBOSS. So he had a post that said it's on Instagram. The many issues with the Mandalorian season 3, the lack of focus, the writing, the dialogue, the characters, the visuals, and he had one dedicated to the cameos. So this is pretty much sums my doubts up in a T. I enjoy seeing Zeb or Kelleran Beck or Jack Black in the show as much as most people, but it's gotten to a point where it seems like the writing relies on it, which is true. I shouldn't feel like the script acknowledges the fact that someone recognizable is on screen. That's the problem. Is the fact that they're always bringing up the fact, oh, this is Ahsoka. Oh my God, this is Zeb. Rather than having these appearances feel organic to the overall story. That's the problem with it. If they executed the cameos better and said, hey, you know what? Yes, Ahsoka has to appear. I'm not saying that I don't want her to ever appear.
So I think
Ahsoka's top five
we're saying
character.
one thing in the same in a way because I
Yes.
agree that the Zeb appearance wasn't really necessary. It was, hey, this episode was kind of a drag. Let's throw Zeb in there to make you happy and connect to the Rebels characters. Dave Filoni's clearly a fanboy and loves his content, right? Like, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I love Dave Filoni. He's amazing. But Zeb was for him and for us, right? I agree with that. I totally agree that that is leaning on a cameo to fix maybe a crappy plot line for an episode, right? but I don't agree that certain, and I think even that post was saying it. Some of the cameos do make sense for the plot. Like Ahsoka being part of that makes sense for the plot. She is directly connected to everything going on in this series, Rebels, and going forward, right?
Oh,
So
I
that
don't have a
that
problem
had to
with-
be part of that. That's what I'm
So-
saying. So I think the key word that in that post and what you're trying to say is the word heavily. Heavily relying on cameos to to further the plot, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want just cameos to make my plot great. I'm with you on that. So that's what
Yeah.
you're saying. I'm
Have a-
all
yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
that's
But
what I meant the entire
I
time.
do
yeah.
agree that these like I almost don't want to call some of these characters cameos. They are characters that are the plot.
Well,
right?
Ahsoka is of season 2 is by definition a cameo.
By definition,
until-
but she is
Yeah.
it is intent
and
wise
if she
to
isn't in that
further
yeah,
to further the overarching plot
put it
of,
this way.
of this era.
if
That's
she
what I'm trying to
isn't
say.
in that episode, and they give it to a different Jedi, is that episode as good?
I have to rewatch it. I maybe I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah,
the thing is like the fact that
To even
again,
question that is your
the
point. I get that.
relighting
Right.
that's sort of what my major that's sort of what my complaint is with
No,
the
I see what you're
Mandalorian
saying.
right now.
Heavily
Especially
relying
last
on them.
episode when it comes to
All
Jack
with you.
Black
I
and
don't
Lizzo.
think. I don't
But-
think we need. Well, that's cameo. That's can't call it cameos. That's actor cameos. Actors don't count.
Well, I mean, I feel like they do because like they're recognizable. People
Super
are getting
recognizable,
excited
I
seeing
guess,
Lizzo
yeah.
and Jack Black. Like,
It's maybe
That's
it's
the
I don't know.
thing.
Maybe Mando's just
yeah,
dreaming.
yeah, but yeah,
Anyway,
everything you said,
no, I
agree
just think
with.
it all plays to the part and the point. And I think it was leading to this Ahsoka and leading to the Mandoverse being completed the way it does. I think Din will have an integral part in that Thrawn arc as well. And remember, we are confirmed to have a movie that culminates all of this in one, right? We're gonna get Ezra, Ahsoka, Din, Grogu, everybody, Bo, the Mandalorians against Thrawn, possibly, right? Everybody, including Thrawn, is going to be in Dave Filoni's movie that closes out the Mandoverse that led to the new order, or right, the new order. What is it called?
Oh, the New Republic, I think, or
No,
the
the New
High
Republic.
The High
No,
Republic?
the order that the Resistance is fighting.
Oh, the First Order.
I think it's the First Order. Damn it.
Yeah.
So that is gonna lead right into episode 7.
Yes,
I think Filoni's
Yeah.
movie. So
Yeah.
that's the point. That's where they're getting. That's what I'm saying. The cameos aren't really cameos. They're part of the plot. But I agree, the random cameos do not make sense for all of it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I like we. So I'll put it this way: Zeb doesn't appear in Mando. Zeb appears in Ahsoka as part of the plot line as far as recruiting. We're getting the Ghost crew back together. Let's go find Ezra and kill Thrawn, right? You wouldn't be mad because that makes sense for the plotline story. I agree that Zeb's appearance and just popping up and saying, "Oh, you should go see if we can help them." That's dumb, right?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Ahsoka
well-
being part of like in that specific episode, maybe that didn't make sense, but overall makes sense for the plot of where Mando was going, what Mando is doing, and where Ahsoka is going to be going. Right, the overarching plot for the sequels.
Yeah, you know what I just realized? This is totally getting sidetracked here. We might see Agent Callus in Ahsoka, and for all we know, maybe we'll see Zeb's homeworld. You remember when all of his species
Yep.
sort of migrated to the one
Yep.
planet? Anyways,
I do think
just-
no, I think we're
I thought
also
about
going
that.
to get I'd be shocked if Luke doesn't help at some point.
Yeah, he'll probably show up in the movie.
Luke does fight in the books, the Heir to the Empire books. Like he fights Thrawn too. So it's all part of this what they plan to do, I think. So
Yeah.
anyway, any other content we got out there?
Yeah, just these last 3. So I think we already talked about like Dave Filoni's directing a new Star Wars movie. I'm sort of in the same boat as Skeleton Crew. I'm at a 1. I really don't care. I think Mandoverse. I feel like the
gonna
Mandoverse
make
is
you
a larger
happy.
conversation we're gonna have. But
They're gonna make you happy eventually. But I'm excited for that. I'll give it a 3.
yeah. So and then something that's super interesting. I think which we didn't talk about at all yet. Is James Mangold's new movie. So he's returning to Disney once again at directing the new Indiana Jones movie, and his movie is literally about the first Jedi and is being described as a biblical epic. That is
Wild.
so fucking cool,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's set literally in the very beginning
Of
this
time, essentially.
of this new timeline because they actually showed this new timeline at Star Wars Celebrations today. So to go in order, they showed Dawn of the Jedi is when this new movie is going to be set. The
Yep.
Old Republic, so expect video games, movies, TV shows to be coming out in the future. The High Republic, obviously something that you've talked to me quite about before, and obviously where the Acolyte is set.
Right.
The Fall of the Jedi, which I assume is just the prequels. The Rise of the Empire, which I assume is just the original trilogy. Age of Rebellion, which I'm not sure at what point that's set. Maybe
Probably
like
Rebels time.
maybe
around
like
there.
something like that. The New Republic, which I'm assuming is like in between whatever.
Mandoverse now. Right?
Manoverse, and then to episode 7, and then Rise of the First Order, which would be episode 7, moving on and
Yep.
stuff like that. So that's the official timeline.
Well, there's one more at the end, right? Wouldn't that be Reyes?
And then whatever else they have post right. Maybe just do
Well,
like Rise of the
there's-
Jedi Order, but
There's
that's it.
the new Jedi. I think it's New Jedi Order is the last one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But that's really cool.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I trust Mangold, and I trust him for one reason, and I know what this theme is going to be exactly like, and you know damn well what it's going to be like too. What is it?
Logan.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
Give us any theme like that at all, and I'm fucking in. Come on.
It's gonna be super exciting. I think they can really like. What's what I'm looking for? I don't know. They could have a really like compelling, like show a really compelling journey of a Jedi. You know,
Yeah.
the fact that he's like the very first of his kind, and maybe he's
Right.
not accepted by society. So there's a lot they can do, and
Right.
honestly, I think this could be a very character-driven story if they
This
allow it.
this might be character driven, and bro, this might be so old that we're talking like before. You got to think, even old Star Wars, original trilogy, or even going back to the prequels, their technology supersedes our real life technology by millions of years, right? So, how far back are we talking? I mean, this could be really
Before Old
grounded.
Republic too, yeah. It's
Yeah,
before Old Republic too.
It
It's
could be
crazy.
grounded as hell, bro.
Yeah.
Like it could be really exciting. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I have
Um,
no other information about it, but I'm really excited.
yeah, me too.
So I'm a 5. Like I'm a 5.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna lie.
yeah.
Like not leading on anything at all from what we know is fucking dope.
Yeah, and
Fucking dope.
yeah, and then the last thing we had is there's a movie going to be set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley's coming back as Rey, which I'm happy for. I hope she gets her quote unquote redemption. I put quote unquote because obviously everyone has their own opinions on Rey as a character. I think they did an injustice to her. I think the direction they took her in The Last Jedi was super interesting and different. And then they could really shit on it and just say, hey, make her a Palpatine because we don't know what else to do. So super excited for her. I'm super excited for it to be set post Rise of Skywalker because I think it's going to be interesting to see her build a new Jedi Order and all the different threats that she, as well as her who are Padawan, so to speak, are going to be facing. It's going to be directed by the Miss Marvel director. It's being written by the Peaky Blinders creator Stephen DeKnight, I think his name is Stephen Knight or Stephen DeKnight. Yeah, so that's about all we have regarding that. Yeah.
Wait, what was so the last one is what?
The Rey movie, basically.
The Ray movie. Okay.
Yeah, 15
So
years after.
so let
Rise
me
of
ask you,
Skywalker.
because I feel like you sometimes don't talk about this at all. Like I you know it's weird enough when we talk in private or even on pod, you never mention the sequel. So
I don't think I have I?
I don't think you've even talked about it. I don't want you to because I feel like you're gonna vote like freaking smash your screen. Are you so I'll just you don't have to go too deep into the sequels. How excited are you for the Ray series, the Ray movie?
It's like so it's tough. Like, and that's why I'm at a 3 because like if they just stuck with the original script for episode 9, revamped it, released as is, I would be like really excited for this movie. The reason I'm not is because they still have Rise of Skywalker, and the Rise of Skywalker I think is the worst Star Wars movie. Period. I think it's worse than Attack of Clones. I think it's terrible. It's corporate. It's nonsensical. I've never felt a movie feel so slow and move so fast at the same time. And that's an accomplishment you don't want. Like, you know. But I think the reason why I'm most excited is because one, I think that they'll find a way to sort of I put redeem because it really based on like how you view Rey as a character. Maybe they'll redeem her in some capacity. So yeah, so that's the thing. But I think like in terms of the sequels though, because I don't think I've ever like told you about Force Awakens. I think is a fun movie. I need to rewatch it though. I haven't watched it in
I
years.
enjoy Force Awakens a lot. I
Last
really do.
Jedi, I think
We
is
can actually watch that Sunday if you want.
yeah for sure. Maybe as well watch the whole sequel. Well, I'm not watching the Rise of Skywalker rather like this get into a car accident, but the Last Jedi I think is way better than people give it for. I was a hater. I watched it twice actually in theaters. That was the first movie I ever watched twice in theaters, and I still disliked it. And then looking back and hearing all these people's opinions, I still have my problems with it. I think everything with Kylo, Rey, and Luke was perfect. Everything else besides that was not very good. It's the definition of a mixed bag. But I still think that Rey as a character, her being a nobody and not having to to connect her to a lineage was super interesting and so different. And then again, they
should
shit
have
the
just kept
bed
that.
and just made her Palpatine for no reason.
I think people
You know what I mean?
absolutely love the sequels if she stays a nobody. And it's just so weird, you know, Matt.
I
One
think
thing
people
that
hate
annoys
it more, honestly.
no, think about it though.
Honestly.
Like the thing that annoys me the most when it comes to the sequels, why is there this debate about, you know, I want Rey, you know, both sides of what we just talked about, right? Rey needs to be a Palpatine, or Rey needs to be an actual Skywalker, or Rey needs to be a nobody because it's so dope. Do people not forget that all Jedis are technically nobodies? There's not some heritage lineage
I
thing
know.
going on with Jedi. Like, not everybody's a fucking Yoda, right? Not everybody's a Kenobi. Not everybody's a fucking Dooku. There are Wookiees. There are random, like throughout all of Star Wars history, there are random ass Jedi. There's no there's not a database that shows you who's going there. I don't know if you count Jedi Fallen Order, there is, but that shows you who was a Jedi or is a Jedi, and it's based off of family heritage and passing midichlorians down. That's not how it works. So why are people just so worried about that argument? Let JB or Rey be random, or don't let her. I don't give a fuck. All Jedi are random, technically. Who cares? Who cares? This debate's stupid. Jedi are randoms. Now, I think Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker, with what she did, invigorated the Force, right? If you want to call it. And you see the little kid who might be an appearance, I'm assuming 15 years later in Rey's movie, the kid that's force wielding with the broom, right? It just shows us that the Force has been reawakened, right? It's like the Force Awakens in true life, right? You see it at the end of Episode 9. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Rey really build this Jedi Order, and we're going to get some semblance of the books as well. When Luke was rebuilding, I hope at least the Legends canon, when Luke rebuilt, right? And I think they're showing some of that now in the Mandoverse a little bit, but we're going to see Rey really do this thing, and I hope, really, really, really hope she builds the Jedi Order the way it's really supposed to be, right? Not hypocritical, not feeling as if you're the higher power that be, right? And overall, I'm excited for this. I'm going to give it a 4 because I really think she is a good character. I did, like you said, I liked Rey, I like Kylo, I like Luke's arc in the 8th movie. I wouldn't mind some Skywalker cameos, right? Some Ghost, I'm okay with that. Again, back to cameos, right? But I wouldn't mind it. I really think they have an opportunity here to rebuild the Jedi the way it was supposed to be, but still bring in a very intimidating, impactful new force, right? Sith force that's going to come in and try to make an impact and destroy what Rey is building. I would, I'd love to see it. So we'll see where they go. There's no guarantee with any of it, but I am excited for it. One thing that will make this because we're rating what we're excited for, as far as actually rating it when I watch it, if Finn is not a Jedi, I will walk out of that theater in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, that direction was so
like they
one of the reasons I hate Last Skywalker, bro.
They kept hinting at it, at least, thank God, in the 8th and 9th, right? They at least hinted at it, so I think that's gonna come, and he finally tells her, obviously, that he is Forrest Wheeler, which is dope. And I don't know if Boyega is going to return. There's no guarantees. He didn't seem like he would ever do it. So, you know, we will see. We will see where that goes. But if I tell you, if he pops up and he's only wielding a fucking blaster and all he's doing is screaming Ray every 5 minutes, I will Matt, quote me on this. We will be sitting a seat away from each other. I will walk out of that fucking theater if he's not a Jedi. I'm dead ass serious.
Yeah,
I'm not watching that movie. If it's him with a blaster, watching Ray get attacked by a Sith saying, I'm out. That's not character development, bro. He deserves so much more. He could have been such a good.
That's the
they
thing.
did so well with him in the.
And the only reason why is because they were, I don't know. I don't know why they were afraid to give Finn. That's the thing. And like I said, I don't have like a huge problem with Ray. I just think like it was super dumb. And apparently they said after the fact that he was gonna tell Ray that he was force sensitive and Rise Skywalker and didn't like commit to it. So dumb. So dumb. But oh man, he deserves better. Well, I think he'll come back if they convince him. We'll see though. Dang, man, that would have been so fucking cool though. That's so depressing, bro. A force sensitive stormtrooper. You know how cool that sounds, bro?
I know. Well, that just shows. That just goes to show again
bro.
the random. If they had
bro.
if they had Ray still be a Palpatine, and then show Finn being the random fucking stormtrooper that became a Jedi Force user, whatever, as well. That still speaks to everything is just random. Anybody could be.
That's the thing too,
they could have fixed it with just
that.
that.
Both. We could have both.
100%. So you know, I think they're gonna have to be a Jedi. They need to have him be a Jedi. I hope Boyega returns and gets the real plot he deserves. I'd love him to get his own series as well. I would love all that, right? So we'll see where that goes. Ezra could be in it as well. He'll be a little bit older, but I think at that point he'd be 60-ish. So you know, obviously he's human, so maybe we'll see what it is. But yeah, I'm super excited for it, and can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, let's just hope Disney actually goes through with these movies. Tyga's is canceled. Kevin's is canceled.
Tyga just got canceled too?
Yep, his is gone. Kevin Feige's is gone.
Well, I know Feige's is gone. They didn't confirm Tyga's was when? Today?
Like a few weeks ago. They said Tyga.
Are you sure? They just I saw on Twitter that Tyga's still making his.
Is it
in the middle of production? Yeah.
Tyga Star Wars movie canceled. I'm pretty sure I saw it was canceled.
Nah, he's still going. I'm telling you.
Oh no! Wait, sorry. That was Patty Jenkins.
Yes.
Hers got canceled. It was.
She was supposed to be the first movie since episode 9.
Yep, that's right. Okay, that's my fault. Rose Caution could have been really good.
Well, I don't know. They confirmed that the Skywalker saga is officially done. So this Rey movie better be nothing relevant to Skywalker besides the fact she changed her name to Skywalker for some stupid ass reason. But either way, I am super excited for it. So
me too.
Look, we have just been so excited to come in. Clearly, this is probably one of our longest episodes, and God knows how long. We are Star Wars fans to a T, right? We love Marvel, we love DC, we love the Star Wars stuff. We expect more. We love the better stuff coming out. Andor's been great. Acolyte's been great. I think Mando will get better for Matthew. I hope it does. I hope every single episode has 7 cameos just to piss him off. And no, but honestly, listen, we are very excited. We're so thankful to be able to do this podcast. We appreciate every one of you guys jumping on in and giving the watch. But Matthew, you want to go ahead and give your goodbyes and tell them where they can find you?
Yes, there's gonna be Matt_T29 over Instagram. If you ever want to talk about Star Wars things, promise I'm not this passive aggressive with everybody. Just the passion, releases, and obviously getting a chance to speak to my brother. Go ahead and debate with my brother is always a hell of a fun time. I love doing this with him. I love talking about everything Marvel, DC related, but especially Star Wars. I think we're in a great era of Star Wars right now. I think the future is looking bright. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes next for us to talk about. So
can agree more. So listen, of course you can find me at John_OTS all social media, but just go over to youtube.com/OTS Media Co. Right is the new link, Matt. OTS Media Co. And just watch. Right, we got plenty of podcasts out there. We have Derek running the Sideline Guys. Matthew's hopped on that podcast as well before. We have Real-ish. We have with Matthew and Derek starring as well as some guests. We have the MMA podcast. We have wrestling podcast by Dwayne. Chris is doing an amazing job with his MMA stuff. We have so much for you guys to watch. Head over to the YouTube page, drop a subscribe, share the pages, go to the Facebook page as well. We love doing what we do, and we love that you guys come in and want to have a debate. So anybody that ever wants to be on the show, hit us up. You're more than welcome to come on and be wrong, because we're always right. So look, we love you guys. Thank you for always listening to our witty debates and our constant content. A little announcement that we need to talk about at some point. Matthew pointed the wrong way. Harry Potter might be getting a brand new series for all the books that I think could be. At first, I was a little mad, but could be good. Of course, always talk about some DC, some Star Wars as well. So go Bills, and let's fucking get it, baby. We could be heroes. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Peace.